Fala galera, vamos lá para mais um dia de leitura. Então, se vocês não assistiram os vídeos anteriores onde eu comecei a ler este livro, The Bottle Imp, eu sugiro que vocês voltem lá e procurem na minha playlist The Bottle Imp para vocês acompanharem a história desde o princípio. Vou continuar de onde eu parei aqui então nesse vídeo. Vou tentar fazer um vídeo um pouquinho mais longo para a gente não demorar tanto para ler todo o conteúdo do livro. Então vamos lá. You're not deceiving me, said Kiwi. The man bound himself with a great oath. Well, I risk that much, said Kiwi, for that can do no harm. And he paid over his money to the man, and the man handed him the bottle. Imp of the bottle, said Kiwi, I want my $50 back. And sure enough, he had scarce said the word before his pocket was as heavy as ever. To be sure, this is a wonderful bottle, said Kiwi. And now good morning to you, my fine fellow, and the devil go with you for me, said the man. Hold on, said Kiwi. I don't want any more of this fun. Here, take your bottle back. You have bought it for less than I paid for it, replied the man, rubbing his hands. It is yours now, and for my part, I am only concerned to see the back of you. And with that, he rang for his Chinese servant and had Kiwi shown out of the house. Now, when Kiwi was in the street with the bottle under his arm, he began to think, if all is true about this bottle, I may have made a losing bargain, thinks he. But perhaps the man was only fooling me. The first thing he had was to count his money. The sum was exact, $49 American money and 1 chili piece. That looks like the truth, said Kiwi. Now I will try another part. The streets in that part of the city were as clean as a ship's decks, and though it was noon, there were no passengers. Kiwi set the bottle in the gutter and walked away. Twice he looked back, and there was the milky, round-bellied bottle where he left it. A third time he looked back and turned a corner, but he had scarce done so when something knocked upon his elbow, and behold, it was the long neck sticking up. And as for the round belly, it was jammed into the pocket of his pilot coat. And that looks like the truth, said Kiwi. The next thing he did was to buy a corkscrew in a shop, and go apart into a secret place in the fields. And there he tried to draw the cork, but as often as he put the screw in, out it came again, and the cork as whole as ever. This is some new kind of cork, said Kiwi, and all at once he began to shake and sweat, for he was afraid of the bottle. On his way back to the port side, he saw a shop where a man sold shells and clubs from the wild islands, old heathen deeds, old coined money, pictures from China and Japan, and all manner of things that sailors bring in their sea chests. And here he had an idea. So he went in and offered the bottle for $100. The man of the shop laughed at him at the first, and offered him $5. But indeed it was a curious bottle. Such glass was never blown in any human glass works. So prettily the colors shone under the milky white, and so strangely the shadow hovered in the midst. So after he had disputed a while, after the manner of his kind, the shopman gave Kiwi $60 for the thing, and set it on a shelf in the midst of his window. Now, said Kiwi, I have sold that for 60, which I bought for 50. Or, to say the truth, a little less, because one of my dollars was from Chile. Now I shall know the truth upon another point. So he went back on board his ship, and when he opened his chest, there was the bottle, and had come more quickly than himself. Now Kiwi had a mate on board whose name was Lopaka. "What ails you?" said Lopaka, "that you stare in your chest?" They were alone in the ship's forecastle, and Kiwi bound him to secrecy and told all. "This is a very strange affair," said Lopaka, "and I fear you will be in trouble about this bottle. But there is one point very clear, that you are sure of the bottle, and you had better have the profit in the bargain. Make up your mind what you want with it. Give the order, and if it's done as you desire, I will buy the bottle myself. For I have an idea of my own to get a schooner and go trading through the islands." "That's not my idea," said Kiwi, "but to have a beautiful house and garden on the Kona coast, where I was born, the sun shining in at the door, flowers in the garden, glass in the windows, pictures on the walls, and toys and fine carpets on the tables, for all the world like the house I was in this day, only a story higher, and with balconies all about like the king's palace, and to live there without care and make merry with my friends and relatives." "Well," said Lopaka, "let us carry it back with us to Hawaii, and if all comes true as you suppose, I will buy the bottle, as I said, and ask a schooner." Upon that they were agreed, and it was not long before the ship returned to Honolulu, carrying Kiwi and Lopaka and the bottle. They were scarce come ashore when they met a friend upon the beach, who began at once to condole with Kiwi. "I do not know what I have to be condoled about," said Kiwi. "It's possible you have not heard," said the friend. "Your uncle, that good old man, is dead, and your cousin, that beautiful boy, was drowned at sea." Kiwi was filled with sorrow, and beginning to weep and to lament, he forgot about the bottle. Lopaka was thinking to himself, and presently when Kiwi's grief was a little abated, "I have been thinking," said Lopaka, "had not your uncle lands in Hawaii, in the district of Kau?" "No," said Kiwi, "not in Kau. They are on the mountain side, a little way south of Hukena." "These lands will now be yours?" asked Lopaka. "And so they will," says Kiwi, and began again to lament for his relatives. "No," said Lopaka, "do not lament at present. I have a thought in my mind. How if this should be the doing of the bottle? For here is the place ready for your house." "If this be so," cried Kiwi, "it is a very ill way to serve me by killing my relatives, but it may be indeed, for it was in just such a station that I saw the house with my mind's eye." "The house, however, is not yet built," said Lopaka. "No, nor like to be," said Kiwi, for though my uncle has some coffee and ava and bananas, it will not be more than will keep me in comfort, and the rest of that land is the black lava." "Let us go to the lawyer," said Lopaka. "I have still this idea in my mind." Now, when they came to the lawyer's, it appeared Kiwi's uncle had grown monstrous rich in the last days, and there was a fund of money. "And here is the money for the house," cried Lopaka. "If you are thinking of a new house," said the lawyer, "here is the card of a new architect of whom they tell me great things." "Better and better," cried Lopaka. Here is all made plain for us. Let us continue to obey orders. So they went to the architect, and he had drawings of houses on his table. You want something out of the way, said the architect. How do you like this? And he handed a drawing to Kiwi. Now when Kiwi set eyes on the drawing, he cried out aloud, for it was the picture of his thought exactly drawn. Okay, let's continue in the next.